So one of the first things I want to talk about is the difference between the new and classic MailerLite. Some people joining the webinar might be using the new version, some might be using classic. So this is what the classic MailerLite looks like. This is an older version of MailerLite, and in March of 2022, a new version of MailerLite was released. So if you signed up to MailerLite before that date and your account looks like this is the classic MailerLite. And if you signed up after March of 2022, your account most likely looks like this, and this is the new MailerLite. So when it comes to e-commerce integrations, you can use them for both new and classic. It's just the features are slightly different as well as the integrations themselves. So I'll go over that. But this is the difference when you're looking at the interface between the classic version and the new version. Okay, so when it comes to integrating an e-commerce store with MailerLite, as I mentioned, it is available for both new and classic. So depending on which version you're using, you can still connect a store to MailerLite. And you can connect a store even if you are on a free plan as well as a growing business or advanced. Again, some features are different, but when it comes to just connecting an online store to MailerLite, it is available for both versions of MailerLite as well as all plan levels to just have the store connected to your account. When you do that, there are a lot of new features that are available to you, such as being able to sync your store customers to MailerLite. So when people make a purchase in your store, sign up to your mailing list, anything like that, they're automatically synced to your MailerLite account. So you can organize them and keep track of them in your account. You can also import your products into newsletters. So all of the products you have on your online store, if they're digital, physical, you can then import them into your newsletters so that when you send out your newsletters, your subscribers can actually purchase directly from the email itself. So they can purchase, be directed to your store, and then that leads into the next point, which is tracking sales. So when you connect a store to MailerLite and you have your products in your newsletters, you can actually track those sales. So MailerLite allows you to track the sales that you make from your email marketing campaigns, which I will explain more in depth, as well as automation triggers. So that is another feature that is added to your account. So you will have automations regularly. So everyone has automations and automation triggers. But when you connect an e-commerce store, you have a new list of e-commerce triggers that you can use, which I will also go over more in depth. Okay, so firstly, which stores connect to MailerLite? The first one being Shopify. This is one of the most popular online stores that connect to MailerLite. This one is available for both new and classic, but this is something to be aware of is that the links are different. So when it comes to the integration for new MailerLite and then the integration for classic, there are two different links. So we'll go ahead and just make sure we're dropping those in the chat, just so you can see that they are two different links. So if you're using the classic MailerLite, of course, you want to go with the classic integration, and then the new MailerLite will be using the new integration. And this Shopify integration gives you a lot of the features that I mentioned before. So syncing store customers, importing products into newsletters, tracking sales, as well as e-commerce automations, including abandoned cart automations, which I will go more into the automations themselves. But yes, as far as just the features of Shopify, this is what you can expect. As well as WooCommerce. WooCommerce is another popular one, again, available for both new and classic MailerLite. Again, the links are different. So whether you're in the new MailerLite or classic, you'll want to use the integration that corresponds with the version that you're using. Again, this has a lot of the same features: syncing store customers, importing products into newsletters, tracking sales, and abandoned cart automations. The features for Shopify and WooCommerce are very similar, so depending on which store you're using, the features will be pretty much the same. As I mentioned, I'm not going to go over how to connect these stores to MailerLite. We do have a lot of articles. We have step-by-step tutorials on this. So if you're looking to actually get those stores connected to MailerLite, have a look at our knowledge base articles and video tutorials where we do go step-by-step into how to connect these stores. Okay, another one is BigCommerce. So this one is only available for the new MailerLite, so not classic. And this also includes a lot of the same exact features as Shopify and WooCommerce. So again, data, synchronization, and sales tracking. So having all of the store customers brought over to MailerLite as well as tracking the sales that they make. Importing product blocks into the newsletters, e-commerce automation triggers, and abandoned cart emails. So again, the main difference with BigCommerce, the features are pretty much the same. The main difference is that BigCommerce is only available for new MailerLite, not Classic. Okay, another store that we can connect with is PrestaShop. This one is also available for new MailerLite only. So when it comes to Classic MailerLite, it's just going to be Shopify and WooCommerce that are available for Classic. The rest of these are just for the new MailerLite. So PrestaShop is, again, gives you a lot of those same features: data synchronization, product blocks and newsletters, e-commerce automation triggers, and abandoned cart emails. Almost all of the stores, once they're connected, will give you the same features. It's just depending on the store itself, that's the difference. But as far as tracking sales, product blocks, most of it is the same. The main difference will be the next one that we talk about here, which is Squarespace. So Squarespace Commerce is the newest addition to the e-commerce integration list. And when it comes to Squarespace, we do have a few different integrations for Squarespace. We have an integration that is just for forms, but this integration is for the e-commerce side of Squarespace. So if you have a store in Squarespace, this is the integration you'll want to be using. Again, this is available only for the new MailerLite. And for the most part, the Squarespace Commerce integration gives you the same features as the rest. So data synchronization, sales tracking, product blocks, and newsletters, as well as adding e-commerce automation triggers. The main difference is that Squarespace Commerce integration has a few less automation triggers. It does not include the abandoned cart automation trigger. So I will go over a little bit more in depth as to how the Squarespace Commerce is a little bit different, but essentially, yes, the main difference is it just doesn't include all of the e-commerce triggers, but it includes a few of them. Another thing to note with the Squarespace Commerce integration specifically is, in order for it to work, your Squarespace site has to be on a business or commerce plan. So the features aren't available on personal plans. Again, I'm talking about Squarespace, not MailerLite. So in Squarespace itself, the plan that you're on in Squarespace would have to be business or commerce in order for this integration to work. And also the site would need to be live as well. So if you're trying to test the integration and it's not working, it might just be you're looking at it in maintenance mode. All of the integrations, in order for them to work, your site needs to be live so that you can actually view how everything works and looks. Okay, so that is all of the stores that MailerLite connects to, both for the new MailerLite as well as for Classic as well. So let's talk about more of the features themselves. So one of the first things I mentioned was email sales tracking, okay? So email sales tracking is when you basically are connecting your online store to MailerLite and you want to include your products in your newsletters. So when you're sending out campaigns, your subscribers can see your products directly in the emails themselves. And then when a subscriber opens the email, they're redirected to your website. If they make a purchase, that purchase is recorded in your campaign report in MailerLite. So you can actually track the purchase that your customers make from the campaigns themselves. Okay, and we track the purchase for 30 days after someone clicks an email or visits your store. So that means that if they click the link, go to your store, make a purchase, that sale is tracked. But also if they make any purchases within the next 30 days, those purchases will also be tracked and counted towards that campaign. So the tracking lasts for the full 30 days after they first click that link. Okay, and okay. So talking a little bit more about email sales tracking. As I mentioned, any purchase that they make within the next 30 days will be counted and attributed to that email campaign. In order for this to happen at all, it has to be, so the link to the shop is placed anywhere in the campaign with enabled e-commerce tracking, it will be recorded. So let me explain what I mean by that. I'm going to move over to the MailerLite app to show you how exactly to enable e-commerce tracking in your campaigns. So here you can see my screen and you can see the MailerLite app. I'm going to go over to my campaigns here. And this account already has a WooCommerce store connected, so it has all of the features already there. So I'm going to show you what it will look like when you want to create a campaign and include that sales tracking. So you can see I went to the campaigns area, create a new campaign. For this, I'm just choosing a regular campaign. And this is the important part here. So when you're looking at the campaign details, it's very important to include this track links toggle right here. So you can see it says track links and purchases made through e-commerce blocks. So if this is not toggled on, the links will not be tracked. So even if the store is connected, you still have to make sure that this is on. It will not be on automatically. So that's something very important to remember, that when you're creating the campaign and you want to make it an e-commerce campaign that includes those e-commerce blocks, you want to make sure to track links just here. So again, the link to the shop placed anywhere in the campaign, the e-commerce with e-commerce tracking enabled, it will be recorded. Next, talking about e-commerce automations. So when you connect an online store to MailerLite, you are then able to use e-commerce automations. Okay, so when you connect an e-commerce store to MailerLite, you then see all of the new e-commerce triggers, from purchase any product, purchase specific product, purchase from category, or abandoned cart. All of these are included in all of the integrations, except, as I mentioned, Squarespace Commerce does not include these two options for e-commerce automations. Okay, so let me go ahead and go over to the app again and show you what these look like when you are looking at the MailerLite app. Okay, so over in MailerLite, let's go over to automations. And I will create a new one here. Now, a couple things here. We do have automation templates. And when you connect an online store, you're able to use the e-commerce template. So you can see here that certain templates are advanced plans. So certain templates can only be used if you're on a certain plan. Same thing with the e-commerce templates. So certain templates can only be used if you connect an e-commerce store. So you can see we have the abandoned cart template, purchase any product, purchase specific product. And what these will do is it will create an automation for you, basically, with the e-commerce trigger that you choose. In this case, it would be abandoned cart. And then the way our templates work is it gives you kind of a blank space for you to then add your campaigns and add in all the details. Okay, but let's go ahead and just create one from scratch so you can see the different triggers and what they do. Okay, so normally when you look at the automation page, it is just this area here, but because we have an e-commerce store connected, we have this extra tab allowing us to use the e-commerce automation triggers. So you see first here, it allows us to connect a shop. We have a few different stores connected. It's another thing, if you want to connect multiple stores to your account, you can do that. And then you would just choose which store you are using. In this case, be this one. And then these are the automation triggers that I mentioned. So abandoned cart, so that is, it's triggered when a shopper provides their email and then leaves before purchasing. So if they did not complete the purchase, you can still send them an email that shows the item that they left in their cart, basically. Purchase any product. So this one is triggered when a customer purchases any product in the store. So any product, no matter what, it will trigger this automation flow. Purchase a specific product. So this is when they purchase, obviously, a very specific product in the store. So it will only trigger when that one product is purchased. And then purchase from category. So if you have different categories in your shop and you want to trigger automations for specific categories only, this is the trigger you would use. Again, for Squarespace Commerce, it would just be these two, any product and specific product. And then you can see once you add a trigger, of course, you want to activate e-commerce tracking. Again, this is the same rule as the tracking for campaigns. You want to make sure that you're activating the e-commerce tracking so that all of the sales are recorded. And then from there, you can build the workflow as normal. Okay, and looking at next, product blocks in newsletters, landing pages, and websites. Okay, so this is another feature that is added to your account that you can use when you add a store. So when it comes to connecting product blocks, they automatically import images, descriptions, and prices of your products and link directly to your store. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you again what that looks like. Okay, so this is when you're creating a regular email campaign, and you're looking at the drag and drop editor. Okay, so adding product blocks. You can see here I have the e-commerce tab here, and then I have all of these different blocks that I can use. So single product, double, triple, just different layouts. I will just go ahead and drag a single, for example. Okay, so you see it just goes right into the newsletter there, and then I can add my product itself. So you can see here, add products from your store, and then this gives me a few options. So I can choose which store I want to actually add products from, and then I can choose the product itself. So this is just a random product, and you can see it goes right there. This one does not have an image, but if I wanted to add an image, I could add an image. You can also change anything. So if you want to change the link, if you want to change what the button itself says. So there's a lot of customization you can do with the products, but it allows you to import that product from your store. You can also customize the layout, all of that. And then, as I mentioned, so when this campaign is sent to your subscribers, they will see the product blocks. If they click the link and are directed to the store, again, make a purchase, that purchase will be recorded further in the campaign report. Okay, and just to remind everyone what the campaign report is, it is here. So when you're looking at the campaigns page and you're looking at your sent campaigns, this is your campaign report here. So this is where you would look to see the sales that were made from that specific campaign, is in the campaign report. Okay. Another thing is that when you're looking at the dashboard of your account and you scroll down here, you should also be able to see your e-commerce revenue. Again, choosing the different stores. So this shows your campaign revenue, automations, kind of just an overview. So again, if you want to see the individual campaign report and the individual campaign sales, that is in the campaigns page and looking at the individual campaign report. But if you just want an overview of the sales happening in your account, you can see that here. This is a test account, so we're not making money on this one. Yeah, this is what it looks like. Okay, so that is what adding product blocks in your newsletters looks like. Okay, you can also do the same in your landing pages and websites. I'm not going to demonstrate this because it is very similar. It's just finding the e-commerce block, dragging it over, and then choosing the specific product that you want to import. But yes, it's not just for campaigns. If you want to promote your products using landing pages or websites, you can do that as well. We actually just released a new landing page builder. So if you want to check that out, you can. And same thing, you're able to import your products from your stores. Okay, and let's talk about syncing your store customers to MailerLite. That is another feature when you connect an online store. So when it comes to syncing your store customers to MailerLite, it's really important that new customers that accept email marketing automatically have their name and email address added to your MailerLite subscriber list. Okay, so that means that when a customer makes a purchase, they enter in all their information, that email and their name will land in your MailerLite account. Again, that is if they accept marketing permissions, and I will explain more about what I mean by that. So how exactly do customers accept marketing permissions, and what does that mean? Because it is quite important. They have to give their consent in order to receive emails. That's just according to MailerLite's terms of use. You aren't able to send email campaigns out to people who haven't agreed to receive them. Okay, so one of the main way that a store customer will consent to receive email marketing is through the store checkout. Okay, so when you look at the store checkout, you can see that there's a checkbox here, email me with news and offers. So there's a specific way to set this up, which I will show you. So I'm going to go over to Shopify real quick. Give me one moment. Every store is a little bit different, of course. So these settings that I'm about to show you will not be universal for every store. I'm just going to mainly show Shopify. Okay. So here I'm in Shopify, my Shopify dashboard. As I mentioned, every store is different. So Shopify will look like this, but when you're looking at WooCommerce, PrestaShop, BigCommerce, the settings will be slightly different. So if you're not sure how to find these settings, you can always look at the help articles for that store that you're using. Okay, but this is Shopify. So in Shopify, if I go over to settings, this is my Shopify store settings. I go to checkout here. So the setting will be in the checkout, your checkout store settings. Okay, so when you're looking at the settings for your store, if it's WooCommerce, PrestaShop, whatever, you want to make sure that you're looking at the checkout settings. Okay. So in Shopify, if I scroll all the way down here, I see the marketing permissions, marketing options. So this is let customers sign up for email or SMS marketing, and I just want to click, this is for email. And pre-selected. So Shopify gives me the option to pre-select. So they can deselect if they don't want to receive marketing. But this is kind of the back end settings. Okay. As far as what it looks like on the actual store itself, let me go over to what our store looks like here. This is just our test store that we're using. And if I go over to the checkout, see, I already have a product here. I'm ready to check out, and you can see that because I did that checkout box setting, this is what it looks like. So if I hadn't enabled that, this would not be here, this little checkout. So email me with news and offers. I can deselect it if I don't want to receive any emails, but it will be pre-selected. And this is necessary for me to be able to receive emails from MailerLite. Okay. So even if I make a purchase, but I don't consent to receive emails, then technically you can't actually send emails to that individual, that customer through MailerLite. And then they will just go through their checkout process. I want to mention the main reason that this is so important, and the reason that I'm going through showing you exactly how to add the checkout, how to show that they are accepting marketing, all of that, is because only customers who agree to receive email marketing emails can trigger e-commerce automations. Okay, so if you notice that a customer has made a purchase in your store and they haven't triggered an e-commerce automation, that's one of the first things to look at, is if that customer actually accepted to receive email marketing, because if they didn't, that is why the automation will not trigger for them. Okay, so that is just according to our terms of use, our anti-spam policy. Again, you can't send marketing emails to customers who do not consent to receive them. So again, if you notice that your customer made a purchase, went through all of the normal workflow, but didn't trigger an automation, that could be one of the reasons. So in order to check if they received email marketing, or if they consented to receive email marketing, I will show you how to check in your account if they did that. Okay, so here back in MailerLite, let's look at our subscribers. I'm just going to choose kind of a random subscriber here just to show specific things. Okay, so this is just a random subscriber in the account. These are the details, subscriber details. And here I can see accepts marketing. So Shimura is just the name of the test store. So this will be the name of the store that you have. Okay, so that's why it's just the test name. Accepts marketing. So you will see a field, accepts marketing. If the value in that field is 0, that means that subscriber did not accept marketing. That is why they did not trigger automations. So they might still land in your account. Okay, so that is how you check. So if the customer did not trigger the automation, but they did make a purchase and you're wondering why the automation wasn't triggered, if you go into their profile, you look at the details and you see accepts marketing 0, that would be why they didn't trigger the automation, is because they did not agree to accept marketing. If they did agree to accept marketing, this will have a value of 1. Okay, so it will just have a 1 here, and that means that they did. So that is how you are able to actually tell. Also, if you go into subscribers and you look at segments, I will explain more about segments and how to use segments, but you can see here that there are a lot of segments that are added for the store itself. And one of them is accepts marketing emails. Okay, so this actually creates a pre-made segment. I don't have to do anything here specific. I don't have to create the segment. I don't have to add subscribers to it. When I connect an online store to MailerLite, these segments will automatically be created. One of them showing you which customers accept marketing, and then you can just see all the customers here that have accepted marketing. So you can see for the customers that have accepted marketing, they have the value of 1 here. So accepts marketing 1. So again, that is the main way that you can tell if they have accepted marketing or not. Okay, and this leads into my next point, which is talking about e-commerce segments. So the segments that are added to your account and created in your account when you add a e-commerce integration. So there are several different ones, and I'll go ahead and go back into the app and show you what it looks like there. The first one is store orders count. So store will always be replaced with your store name. So that's why in our account it was Chimera, I think is the test name, but the store will be the name of your store. So the orders count is the number of orders that the subscriber has made. So that means that when they are added to your account, they will actually start to track, MailerLite will start to actually track how many orders that person has made, and you will be able to see in your account the number of orders, as well as the total spent. So you can see the total amount of money that subscriber has spent in your online store. And as I mentioned, you can see whether or not they have accepted marketing permissions. And this is important because this will show whether or not they are actually entered into those automations or not. Okay, so let's go over back into the app and I will show you what these look like. Okay, so looking at MailerLite, let's go back over to our subscribers. And let's look at segments. Okay, so I did just touch on this briefly because I went over accepting marketing. That is just one of the segments that are created. So these are automatically created for you when you connect your online store. Again, you don't have to create these yourself. You don't have to add subscribers to them. The main feature with segments is that they are dynamic. So if a subscriber meets the condition, they will just be added to the segment automatically. You do not have to do anything there. So just going over these, high spending repeat customers with more than 5 purchases. So again, if a customer makes more than 5 purchases, if they have a value above 5 in that orders count, they're automatically added to this segment. So again, you can just check the segment for all of your repeat customers. You don't have to do anything there. As well as high spending customers. In this case, we consider high spending over $500 or more. Because you are able to see the amount that they have spent, you can categorize your high spenders into a specific segment, as well as customers with no purchases. So if customers have made no purchases, they've signed up to your list, but they have not made any purchases, you will see that segment as well. First-time customers, those with just 1 purchase, as well as, again, the accepting marketing emails. We have a few stores connected to this account, so these repeat. It's just a different store. Again, if you do have multiple integrations, multiple stores connected to one MailerLite account, then you will just see all of the same segments, but with a different store name in the front. So we have several, you can see here. And these are automatically created for you. Going over into the fields. Again, you can see the 3 that are created. These are the 3 that I went over in the slides. So total spent, orders count, and accepts marketing. Again, this first part will just be whatever the store name is. Total spent, orders count, accepts marketing, and over in subscriber profile, you can see them all. You can see the total spent amount, you can see the total orders count, and accepts marketing. Okay, so you can see the segments overall, and then each individual subscriber. Okay, so these are the segments that you can expect to see in your store. Okay, and one of the last things I'm going to talk about in this webinar, going over all of the different e-commerce integration features, basically all of the things that you can then do in your account once you've added your e-commerce integration. Last thing I will talk about is going to be pop-ups. So adding pop-ups to your store becomes a lot simpler when you have an e-commerce integration. There are two basic steps. So again, I'm talking about MailerLite pop-ups here. I'm talking about MailerLite pop-ups that you create in your account. So when you are looking at creating pop-ups, the first step is to create the pop-up form in your account. That is going to be the first thing that you will do. Okay, so making sure that the form is created in your account and that it is toggled to on. Okay, so just looking at what that looks like here in the app. Again, just going over to forms. I'm not going to go over how to create a pop-up form. We do have a lot of articles on that. So if you haven't created one yet, or if you're curious on the steps to actually create a pop-up form, we do have articles and tutorials on creating them. But you just go here and you can start the steps to create a new pop-up form. Once the form is created, you have made the form, you can then toggle it on. Okay, so you can see some of them are paused, some are active. The first step will just always be making sure that the pop-up is on. Okay, that is the first step to adding pop-ups to an e-commerce store. Okay, step one, making sure the form is created in the account and that it is on. Secondly, it is making sure that the specific setting for pop-ups is on in your store. Okay, so this is going to be outside of MailerLite. This is another one of those scenarios where each store is different. Each store is going to have their own specific area where this setting is. I'm going to show WooCommerce here because I've showed a lot of Shopify. So I'm going to show this specific setting in WooCommerce. It will be slightly different in Shopify as well as the other stores. But in order for a pop-up to be added to your online store, you have to make sure that it is enabled. Okay, so let me just go over to WooCommerce really quickly. Okay, so here you can see I'm in the WooCommerce dashboard. Now here in WooCommerce, I'm gonna go down here to MailerLite and settings. So as I mentioned, settings will be different for all of the different stores. Regardless of that, the settings for the pop-ups will be in the MailerLite plugin settings. Okay, so here I have all of my different settings for my WooCommerce store. This is for the WooCommerce store itself, but I only have one area for the MailerLite integration. So when you're looking at your online store and you want to enable pop-ups, you want to look for where the MailerLite integration settings are. And then once you have found them, you can see here that I have pop-ups and I can enable or disable them. I want to make sure that they're enabled, and that will allow me to actually have pop-ups in the store. Okay, so once pop-ups are enabled, there isn't much else I need to do here. Okay, so all I need to do is, like I mentioned, make sure that pop-ups are enabled in the account. That's step one. Making sure that the setting is enabled in your store settings is step two. After that, that is it. There's no need to add any of the code, nothing. The pop-up will automatically show on your online store according to the visibility settings. And what I mean by visibility settings is here. Okay. So depending on how I've set this pop-up to behave, whether I have it always showing on specific pages, if I want to hide it on certain pages, show it on certain pages. There's lots of different settings here. Of course, I can set it to wait a certain amount of time before it shows up, or show when you're scrolling to a certain part in the page itself. Basically, these are all of the different settings that you can do for pop-ups. And we do have articles on this if you're curious to learn more about all of these different settings, how to set your pop-up to certain pages, all of that information. We do have articles on everything like this. But yes, so oftentimes I will see that people have done everything. So they have enabled the pop-up in their in MailerLite, and they have enabled this setting in their online store, and the pop-up still isn't appearing. If that is happening, you want to look at the visibility settings. How is the pop-up set to behave? Because it could just be that it needs a certain amount of time before it pops up, or you need to scroll to a certain part in the page before it pops up. So if it just isn't showing right away, you just want to look at the individual settings and how it's meant to behave. But again, if you have the pop-up enabled, oops, not that. If you have the pop-up enabled and you have the setting in your store, then it should show automatically. Yeah, and that is basically all we're going over today. I'm just going to go ahead and look at any of the questions that were answered. I don't think we had too many. Okay, I do see someone asking about Wix Commerce. At the moment, we don't have a direct integration with Wix Commerce. We do have an integration for adding forms to a Wix site, but not the commerce side of things. So not yet, unfortunately. I also, one of the things that I didn't go over in this presentation, and there's a reason for that, which is Stripe. We do have an integration with Stripe, both for Classic and new MailerLite. But that integration is different from all of the ones that I mentioned. Okay, so connecting Stripe to your account is going to still allow you to sell digital products, but in a different way. You won't see automation triggers. You won't see those segments that I went over. The Stripe integration just works differently, which is why I didn't include it in this session, just because it's not the same type of integration as the ones I went over. But if you are using Stripe, we do have integration for that. Okay, and I think that is all. This was kind of a shorter session talking about all the different e-commerce features. Yep, if there's any more questions, or if you need to have any of the questions answered, we do have our customer service self-help center where you can see all of our articles, the academy, basically all of the information that we have out there, as well as looking at our MailerLite community. If you want to connect with other MailerLite users, you can do that as well, just to get questions answered. And yeah, we'll be holding more of these sessions throughout the month, so keep an eye on any upcoming sessions. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.